gamers, and welcome to Budget Arcade, a free-to-play gaming podcast to help you navigate through the growing realm of free-to-play games. I'm Scott.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Cody.
And welcome to our second episode. Cody, would you like to start us off? We did it! Yay!
Yeah, that's the second one. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance. I got a little sniffle going on, so I'm sorry for that. But we're going to be covering Smite today. It's a game published by Hi-Res Studios.
Smite.
Yeah,
Smite.
Smith.
Smythe.
You are both idiots. Anyway, Smite. The developers are Titan Forge Games, published by Hi-Res Studio. It's free to play on PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Max, and Nintendo Switch now. This game has been out since 2014. It came out on Xbox One in 2015, and it's been on the PS4 and Max since 2016, and just recently came out on Switch, and everybody's been super excited about it. It's considered a MOBA, multi-online battle arena, and a little bit of a complicated game. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yes, and actually, let me also add to this. Every version except for the PlayStation 4 as of this past week, which right now we're in March 1st.
Today's March 1st as of this recording.
March 1st. I completely forgot for a second. So every game or every version of Smite is now cross-playable between all the other versions except the PS4. And you can also, if you link your Hi-Res account to the game, you also can get your all of your achievements and stuff are cross-play.
Your purchases, I think, as well.
Exactly. It's all cross-platform. It's all fluid right across the board. And that's
I didn't know that
last week. They just added that this past week. And actually they did that with all of their games. Not only the Smite, but also with their Paladins game and Realm Royale.
And I think it'd be fair to say that this is one of those games where it's a bedazzle. If you pay money, you get what's called gems, and then you can unlock chests or keys, and then you can unlock new skins or just outright purchase them. But yeah, there's no advantage to actually spending money on this game, which is a plus. Anytime it's not pay to win, it's a plus in my eyes.
Oh, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay.
So yeah, I think I, again, by far have the most experience in this game.
Yeah, you're going to be teaching us through the podcast.
Yeah, and that's
we're the audience. We're learning. It's the Cody show.
Yes,
the Cody show.
Yay.
So I started this game. Oh God, probably back in late 2015, in early 2016. I played it a lot when it first came out, and then I put it down for a long time and just recently picked it back up. But I will admit, it's a very complicated game to learn. I was talking to Scott. I tried to, so I was trying to tell Scott on the fly, I was like, the best way to do it is just to get in and grind through it. And it's a lot. There's a lot of complexities to it that you can't just pick up just by playing. You need to watch videos. You need to see somebody who's played it before. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos and everything else. And even when I was like, because I was sort of accustomed, I'm not great at MOBAs, but since I'm accustomed to it, I was way more comfortable with it than I would say either one of you guys.
So of the MOBAs I've seen, though, this one seems to me to be the most simple. And it's still complicated, but of the like Dotas and League Legends and stuff like that, from what I've seen, and what I've played, it seems like it's the more simplistic of the three, like a little bit easier to pick up. But I could be wrong.
So let's talk about how the gameplay is. It's a third-person view, but you've got there's over 50 different gods that you can play as.
There's close to 100 gods. There's close to, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say there's over 100, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I saw
and they're
that.
about
I actually downloaded
Yorman's. I can't remember.
Yeah, I actually got a free skin off of my Twitch Prime for Arthur, which is completely BA looking. It's amazing looking, but I don't play the game very well.
BA means bona fide awesome.
Yes, exactly. Bona fide awesome.
Yeah. Clearly.
Well, and I guess we'll go through this real fast and say that. So the objective of the game, the main game, there's several different game types you can go into. The main one that pretty much any MOBA has, they call Conquest. There's 3 lanes, 2 jungles, and you have if you want to play it, there's a duo lane which is used by the carry and usually a guardian, but it's a support role. Then you have the mid laner, the solo laner, and then you have a jungler. Essentially, there's
so to simplify
6
this a
towers.
little bit, you've got the enemy side, your side, and then there's pathways between each way, and each pathway yields different situations.
Yeah, essentially. So your mid laner is essentially going to be it's usually a mage that you want a lot of sustain, which is, being able to stay out there long enough. Because once you return to base, you can regain your mana and your health really fast and use your abilities more once you gain mana. But you want high sustain, and you want a lot of damage output, and then eventually your mid laner is going to rotate through and help the other lanes. Your solo laner is going to do what it says. You're going to be solo in that lane for the most part. The jungler might help you out every once in a while, but it's going to be a 1v1. Duo lane is 2v2. And the junglers kind of do their own thing, and you can do what's called ganking, which is going to get behind the other enemy if they're pushed up too far out of position. I know that's a lot of information at one time, but there's a lot more to it than just
anybody confused yet?
that.
Yeah, I was confused.
If they're not, then they played MOBAs before.
Probably.
Yeah, it's basically, I don't even know how to describe it, but in simplistic terms, you've got towers you got to destroy from the other team, and you've got towers to protect, and you eventually just try to make your way down to the other side of the map and beat the main thing you're supposed to protect, which is the guardian or something.
The Titan. Yeah. So the towers in front is what protects the Titan. So it goes in a progression order. You have to defeat the first tower to get to especially in Conquest where there's multiple towers. You have to get the first tower before you can get the second tower. You have to get the second tower before you can get what they call the Phoenix. Once you destroy the Phoenix, you get super minions in that lane only, and then those can kind of push through, and then eventually you need to work on destroying the Titan. Once you destroy the Titan, the game ends, and you win.
Okay. So this game, the gameplay, the way it is, expect to play games for a long period of time. Your matches probably aren't going to be less than 15 minutes, if not longer.
Yeah, and there's a time limit on surrendering. I think it's 10 minutes you have to play the game at least before you or the enemy team can surrender. So the minimum you're going to play is 10 minutes once you get in. That's if somebody disconnects or anything like that. But I have had a couple games in the past that have gone. I think the longest game I've had is about an hour 25.
Oh wow!
So yeah, they can last a long time, just because of the way the game's set up. I mean, if you get into a team fight and essentially the easiest way to win or when the game ends is when you get into a team fight at the end. Somebody's already destroyed a Phoenix, or at least gotten the towers and the Phoenix almost gone. You get into a team fight, one team wipes the other, and they just push through and kill the Titan. That's how it ends most of the time. But you can get games where, all right, well, you get into a team fight, everybody but like 1 or 2 people die, and one might be the support. It can't do a lot of damage, and those 2 people can't take out the Titan by themselves, so they have to back up, retreat, and then by the time they get back, they can get some objectives and stuff. But you can't end the game, so everybody respawns and then you do it again, and it can go back and forth like that for a long time.
Oh, okay. My brain fell asleep. All right. So
I'm glad to see I'm so
it's
interested.
too much to this game. Like, and so on top of all of this, while you're playing, you're farming resources, you're getting gold. There's these numbers at the top that make no sense to me while we're playing. And I guess it's supposed to let you know who's kind of in the lead or not. It looks like a scoreboard, but while you're playing, you're farming gold. Okay. So that's your kills. So you're farming gold, and a bad thing that can happen in this game is you die, and then there's a long respawn time, and I believe it gets longer and longer based on your level, right, Cody?
It does, and so if you die level 1, yes, it's bad, but you respawn quickly. But once you start getting into the late game, to make sure these games don't last into 2-3 hours, they do put an extended death period on, which I think is up to a minute, if not longer. So essentially, in late game. Yeah, so in late game, if the whole team gets wiped, you're looking at a minute that the enemy team or your team can do essentially whatever the hell they want. And that's how you win the game. That's how they balance the game to make sure it doesn't last forever.
And so there's tons of gods. And then when you go back to base, which you need to do periodically to spend your gold, you buy upgrades, statistical upgrades for your character. You upgrade your abilities. You have 4 abilities. And so it's like 3 abilities.
And then an ultimate.
Passive. And an ultimate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So think of like Overwatch where you have abilities and an ultimate. It's kind of like that. And so you have all of that you're juggling. And then also on the map are these things you have to fight to get other bonuses, like a mana bonus. So if you're playing a mage, you go fight the mana guys and you get a mana boost and a damage boost. And then there was, and we were playing one time and we were playing with TJ, a friend of ours who knows the game really well. And he was explaining why you were beating this other like boss that was like halfway down the track because it helps you somehow. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, this game. So the gameplay is kind of, it's fast paced when you get into a fight, but other than that, it's very mild tempered and it's slow. You have to think pretty much everything you do. You have to have a plan, whether you're going to take out the objectives and get the bonuses like Jeff was talking about, or you're going to go to experience camps and just kill those for experience and gold, or you're just trying to push up you get rid of minions, which is what goes through each lane and helps you defeat the towers. If you need to defeat those, or you need to focus on killing a god or anything like that, there's about 1,000 things you need to think about. So really, this is not unless you know MOBAs, or you or unless you're willing to learn, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to learn the items. The items all have different stats and bonuses they give you, and then you got to learn the gods and how you play each. And you have so many gods in every role that do something. They either do something really well or they do something really poor. So you have to adjust your play style depending on what god you pick. And it gets really complicated really fast. And then on top of that, there's relics and consumables and, oh god, there's so much into this game.
Let's just say that the learning ceiling on this game is very high.
There's a steep.
Yes.
So I was kind of interested in learning the game before we started the podcast, and I asked TJ and Cody, who played the game a lot, hey, show me the ropes. And even after hours of that, hours playing against bots, I still don't know what I'm doing. Now, I did kind of play as a character I enjoyed. And then I realized this, which one?
Pele, the assassin.
Yeah, I really had fun playing as that character. And I just said, I'm going glass cannon. And when I took a little time and looked at the upgrades I was buying and just said, I'm going to put it into damage, and that's it. Then I really just started having a lot of fun with that, with knowing a direction I needed to go. But when I first dove in the game, I didn't know what I was buying. Okay, I'll take these shoes. And what does that even do? But once I just started paying a little more attention, is pretty good. But you definitely want to start off against bots. Because I played one game online.
I didn't even know what buying was when I first played the game. I'm like, hey, this is just a third-person shooter type of game. Let me just try and kill these people. Nope, not that easy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I will
when you play against human beings, just forget it.
Oh, God. Yeah. And I will. So there's 2 points I'm going to make on that. One, I will commend Smite that they do have tutorials up that show you the basics of the game. It doesn't clarify everything, especially like buying items and stuff and what every god's good at. But it does explain like the map and sort of what each role does. And it does give you a recommended page on your items, which is nice. So like if you have no clue what you're doing, just run through just go through the recommended items, and it'll give you basically what that god's supposed to do. And number 2, definitely play with bots and other things until you can learn the games a little bit, because I will say the Smite community is toxic. Like it's probably one of the worst games I've played. Like people will badmouth you and type in chat and send you messages saying you're awful, uninstall if you have a bad game. And I've played the game a lot, and if I have a bad game and I miss abilities and I die quite a bit, I still get those messages. So like it's a very toxic community.
One of the things they do is, like we said, there were 602 characters, something like that.
Close enough. We're
999,999.
And when you download the game,
it's over 9,000. I'm sorry, I had to.
Please, Lord, do I have to raise my voice again?
Yes, you do.
I just want to talk about Smite. All right, so there's a ton of characters, and so when you download the game, you do not get. All right, that's enough out of you. So we need to download. When you download the game, you have access to a handful of characters, and then there's like a rotating list of all the other characters, so you can kind of learn who you're playing as. So one of the things you buy would be characters. Now you can get like a hero pack or a god pack, and it unlocks all the current ones and all future ones, which if it's a game you're going to be playing a lot, it's $30. I was able to get it for $15 on sale. So if you look out for a sale, you can get it. And if you're going to be playing the game a lot, it's definitely worth that. And then you kind of have your regular assortment of stuff, your skins that you unlock, emotes, voice lines. I think like banners even.
Yeah, I think announcers too, right?
Yeah, you can get announcers, voice lines. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Chests.
Like your title. Yeah, you can. Well, the chest unlock all these items. But you can get when you load into the game, it gives you like banners. Like there's a border around your character, and you can customize that. There's a lot of stuff you can get.
Oh, and battle pass.
Well, they also have, they have
battle pass now.
So like tasks that you go through and unlock things through a season, a set period of time. What else? But like the actual things that you spend real money on are crazy expensive. And so they'll do they did one where it was like this sort of neo-tech 80s neo-tech thing where everybody had a kind of these like Tron looking skins. And I was like, oh, these are pretty cool. And maybe I'll buy one for the character I like to play as, Pele. So you go in and you don't actually get to pick that one. What you do is you buy a loot box that gives you a chance of getting the skin that you're looking for from that particular theme or event. I don't like that. And when you do spend real money, to me, the prices are kind of exorbitant for what you get.
Yeah. Also, let's mention that you can play this completely free to play. You can unlock additional characters as you grind out your, what's the currency in the game called? I forget.
It's favor. Favor is the in-game currency, and you can use that to purchase gods, voice packs, and stuff. But there are certain ones that are locked only behind chests and gems, which is the purchasable currency. God, I can't talk right now. And another thing Jeff was talking about, the loot box system. I gotta agree with him. That's garbage. I watched several YouTubers and they play the game a lot. And he was talking about a skin that he had to buy, which he essentially ended up having to pay like $70 for, because he just had to keep buying gems over and over again and just roll in the chest and hope that he got the skin that he wanted. And on top of that, the some of the skins, once they've passed, you can never unlock them again. There's several in the game that you'll look at. It's like, oh man, that looks awesome. I want to get that one. Oh, it's never available again because I didn't play the game X amount of years ago, or I didn't spend the money at this current event. So yeah, that to me, that's kind of garbage.
All right, replayability.
So with all that negativity towards their microtransactions, the game, none of that affects the game. It's all cosmetic. Now, replayability, because it is so complex, if you do figure it out and you do get hooked on it, I think there's no roof on it, really. There's no ceiling because of the skill level, the strategy, all the options, all the characters that you can play as, all the different ones to learn, all the different team compositions. It's through the roof to me. Like, if you spend the time, you put in the hours, you figure the game out, there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Just the sheer complexity of the game and how many gods in the game that you can actually play as just makes this game, like, you could, if you had all the gods unlocked and played just one god each time you played the game, you're going to have a different experience each time you play it. So yeah, the replayability on this is quite high in my opinion.
Yeah, and I've got to agree. Again, because the game is so complex, and I hate to keep using that word, but it is a very complex system.
Then buy a thesaurus.
Yeah, so I mean, like, even if you shut up, even if you decide
nobody was
that,
saying anything.
It just kind of clicked from Jeff.
I'm going to throat punch you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cody. I'm sorry.
But even if you decide to settle on one god, I'm going to learn this god, I'm going to learn nothing else. There's 1,000 different ways you can go. There's tons of items. You can buy items for mana, increased mana recovery, increased health recovery, physical protection, magical protection, penetration, physical power, magical power. There's 1,000 different ways you could build one character, and it's all going to play differently. So I got to say, the replayability, I agree with Jeff. It's absurd, because you're never going to play the same game twice unless you buy the same items every single time. You play the same god every single time. But that's not going to work in this game, because you have to adjust to what the enemy team's doing, and you have to try to figure out what's best in each situation.
All right. Jeff, how many half stars do you give this game?
Good one. Just a reminder, we do a 5-star system, and the rule is you can't do half stars. I'm going to say 3, because it's by no means anything below, like, so the way I see the stars working is 1 is a broken game. You know, it's broken, or you got to pay to win. That's 1. 2 is just a bad game with bad mechanics, and it's just not fun to play. And 3, everything's there. The pieces are there. It's a good game. It's just the learning curve is hard to get around. You can't pick up and play it, and you need friends to show you how to do it. And even after hours of that, I still don't get it. So I would put it at a 3.
All right, Cody.
I like Smite, I really do. But just for the general, gamer that wants to play, that just wants to pick up something and have a little fun, especially, free to play or just wants to play casually, I'm going to have to give it 2 stars just because, like I said before.
Wow. I thought you were going to be on the high end.
And don't get me wrong, I love Smite. I love the game. I like learning new gods, and I love playing the game. I love it. But if you're not used to the genre, and the like Jeff said, the learning curve is just absolutely ridiculous for new players. And it's so complex and just difficult that it's going to turn away a lot of new gamers. And on top of that, like I said, I've played it for a long time, and the community is very toxic. So just for those reasons, like it's not a very beginner friendly game. So I've got to give it 2 stars. But again, I love the game. I'm going to continue to play it even after this. But for the general public, I'm going to have to give it 2 stars.
All right. So Jeff and Cody both know this about me. I have multiple children. My gaming time is fairly limited. Because of that fact, and because this game requires so much time to be able to get into it, to get fluent with how it plays and everything, I myself have to give it a 2-star rating as well. So I'm going to give it, 4 half stars for my rating.
Mm-hmm. No half stars. Even in that context,
he gave it full stars, but
I gave it 4 half stars. That's 2 full stars.
That is 2 full stars. Learn math, Jeff.
Lord help me. Whatever, man.
This is the point of the podcast where we just piss Jeff off just to get a reaction out of him.
I don't have room,
especially when you talk over him and can't let him
that.
finish anything.
What are you talking about? Stop it!
All right. How about do we give this game a seal of approval? Our ratings aside, of course.
No.
I
sat here for how long have we been recording? Hold on, let's see this. I sat here.
It's coming up on 29
minutes. It'll probably be less than that when Tom edits out all our oohs and ums and yelling and screaming. And I sat here and told you how much I didn't like the game and how much work it is to get into. And I was the highest rated person with 3 stars. No.
Cody.
Can we do a duel?
A duel
approval.
You want to give it a personal seal of approval?
I do. And like I said, here's the issue is that if you don't know anything about a MOBA game, you're going to jump in, you're going to be like, yeah, new game. And you were just going to get demolished over and over again. And it really, to get into the game, you have to beat your head against the wall until you finally start learning. So personally, I enjoy it, but I also spent that time beating my head against the wall and learning everything. And I know everybody's not capable, doesn't have time to do that. And it's very easy to get discouraged when doing it. So personal approval, yes. But for your everyday gamer, no, I can't.
Okay, well, even though I gave it a 2-star rating, as far as the free-to-play goes, the fact that there's a myriad of replayability in this game, I'm going to give it a seal of approval just for the fact that there's hours and hours of gameplay available for a free-to-play player. Myself, I'm not going to play the game anymore probably. I may pick it up and play it a little bit here and there just to see if I can figure it out a little bit better. But as far as the podcast goes, for Budget Arcade, I do give it the seal of approval. So if Cody goes either way, which way are you saying you do give it?
So now we got half stars again.
No half stars.
We have half. It's called a half rate. It's called a half stamp. It's called a half seal of approval. Get over it, Jeff.
You don't get a half stamp.
All right. In that case, well, this is awkward. You know what? Sure,
Well,
I'll give it my.
about it.
I'll give it my
I'm
seal.
sorry.
I'll give it my seal of approval.
Anytime now.
But I just said it.
Whenever you're ready.
So
I
this
swear to
game
God, I
does
think you
get
just like hearing yourself talk.
Budget Arcade seal of approval, so it is approved. Granted, we probably won't catch any of us playing it very often.
Okay, wait a minute.
What?
Hey, it's
The system is
2v3
broken
or 2v1.
because
Good Lord, I can't
I
do
gave
that.
it 3 stars and a thumbs down. You guys gave it 2 stars and a thumbs up. What are we doing? What is this?
The rating
Look,
was
man,
our
we're
personal
rookies. We
feeling
don't-
about the game. The seal of approval is whether we say that other people should play it or even, go for it in the first place.
And look, I've already made my feelings known. I love the game. But again, if you're just trying to pick it up and like, yeah, let me play just a couple minutes a day or let me get a game or 2 in, it's going to be a rough time.
Well, hopefully next week's game there isn't as bad of a time. Maybe we'll give it 1 star and then give it the seal of approval.
No, there's no way. Next week's game's going to be awesome.
And next week's
So,
game
on
we're
that
going to
note-
be playing Path of Exile.
Pathe of Exile, according
Yes,
to
well,
Scott.
Pathe of Exile.
Smythe. Pathe
Well,
of
I-
Exile.
Well, I think we can go ahead and assume what Jeff's rating is going to be on this one.
It's gonna be
It's
5.5
a week before,
stars.
and we already is it Path of Half Stars?
Yes, Path
It's
of Half
okay.
Stars.
I'm excited.
Path of Half Stars.
No,
we agree
see,
on that.
the reason I picked this game is to get people to actually play it with me, so I'm not lonely.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast. If you have a game you'd like us to play and rate, you can email us at budget.arcade@gmail.com. You can also follow us
Wait,
on
we're
Twitter.
official? We have an email?
Yes, we
We
are
have an
official.
email address.
We have an email.
Mail.
Damn.
We are
AOL.
available on all major
Prodigy.
podcasting except for right now Google and iTunes because I can't log into iTunes.
So the
at
two
moment.
biggest ones.
Yeah, the 2 biggest ones. They're not in at the
That
moment.
is such a
We're available
By
on
the way,
all
let-
major platforms except for the
My
ones
wife
that
just said
people
losers.
listen to.
except for the ones that everybody uses. Good night, everybody.
You can also follow us on Twitter at Arcade Budget, and you can join our Discord
actually
from
Twitter?
there.
J.
Yes, we got a Twitter.
UEASY. I'm on there. I'm talking about wrestling and video games and podcasts.
Does this mean that I have to make a Twitter?
You don't have to make a Twitter
please.
if you don't want to, dude.
No, you do. You
Oh,
do.
yes, you do.
You
You,
have to.
must do it, Cody.
You have to.
Make a Twitter.
By the way, I'm gonna go ahead and point out that we're getting off on away from the gaming right now, but I am by far the youngest person on this podcast, and
Yeah,
I'm the
nobody
only
cares.
one without. I have no Twitter.
So-
I'm just gonna point that
So
one out.
look for Cody on Twitter at Butt Biscuits. He should be available next week.
You know what? Just for that reason, I might just try to get that one.
There you
Yeah,
go.
please do.
Might have multiple
wanna-
T's in it, but we'll see.
We want to give a special thanks to Level Up Your Podcast for editing. Also, music is by Stemage. You can download his music at metroidmetal.com. So until next
And
week, game on.
What? Okay. Game on, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Have you ever listened to your favorite video game podcast and thought, hey, I could do that, but you just weren't sure how to turn your idea into reality? Head to levelupyourpodcast.com and sign up for a free course. Level Up Your Podcast has top-notch editing and production for your up-and-coming gaming or hobby podcast. They also offer marketing support and have transparent pricing when you're ready to grow. Find them at levelupyourpodcast.com and mention Budget Arcade to get $10 off your first month of editing. Let the team at Level Up Your Podcast be your player too.